Hey guys, what's going on? It's Jay from Sony Alpha Lab, and what I got for you here is the Laowa Venus Optics 15mm f2 0D Dreamer lens. Now, this is a fully manual lens, top quality optics. It goes for about $850, and it's got killer build quality. It's got a fast f2 max aperture, and it's extremely wide angle for the full frame E-mount format. So it makes this lens excellent for astrophotography, low light photography, and also any wide angle photography needs you might have, such as landscapes and things like that. Even interior architecture photography and stuff like that has very little distortion. And like I said, top quality optics, as long as you're willing to manual focus. All right, so let me show you what this lens can do in the lab and also the real world, which is ultimately what matters. So let's just get right into it. All right, so now here in my hands, we have the Laowa 15mm f2 Dreamer lens. And as you can see, this lens is absolutely gorgeous. I love the way that it looks and the design of it. This beast has a 72mm filter thread on the front, and it goes for about $850. Now, it's a fully manual lens, as I mentioned earlier, and the manual focus ring is absolute butter. It feels like the highest quality, just smoothness that you can get with a lens. Also, the aperture ring here is manual, and it clicks and declicks. So you can hear it clicking there, and then it has this click and declick switch. So you can slide that, and now you have a clickless aperture, or declicked aperture, however you want to say it. And that's a really nice feature for video if you're doing aperture throws and things like that. Looking at it from the back, you have a really nice metal lens bayonet here, and I do not feel any rubber here, so it doesn't look like it has any rubber on the gasket area in the back. Some lenses have that rubber gasket. There is not one here on this lens, just so you're aware. So the weather sealing, as far as when it meets up to the camera, is not the greatest on this lens. This lens also comes with a lens hood that I did not get with this lens for whatever reason. It didn't come with one, but it obviously does if you buy it brand new. This is like a loaner type lens, but you can see what the lens hood looks like right here. And it's a nice petal lens hood design. Now, this lens has 12 elements in 9 groups, and within those lens elements we have 3 extra low dispersion elements and 2 aspherical elements, which ensures, just really high quality optics. So 15mm on the full frame cameras will yield you approximately 110 degrees field of view, which is very wide angle. Nice. This lens also has a killer 5.9 inch or 15 centimeter minimum focus distance. So you can get extremely close to your subjects and get very good background separation, even at that crazy wide 15mm angle of view. And because you can get so close to your subject, it actually gives you a 0.25x magnification value. So that's almost kind of like, it's not a macro lens per se, but that's really close to your subject. And if you have, enough megapixels, you can crop in and get macro type shots. Now, this beast weighs in at 1.1 pounds or 500 grams. So it is pretty beefy. It does have some weight to it, but it feels solid as a rock. Let me show you what it looks like mounted to my Sony a7C here. And you just line up the red dot right up here with the white dot right here, like so. And that is what she looks like, minus the lens hood, of course, because I don't have that, unfortunately. And it looks really good. It's a really nice lens. It's not too big, it's not too bulbous, as you can see here, and it's so wide. 15mm on a full frame camera is extremely wide. All right, so let's move on to some sample photos here so I can show you how this beast performs in the lab, and then more importantly in the real world. All right, so here we are in the lab scene checking out the Venus 15mm, and as you can see, it's extremely wide. I was only a few feet away from the lab scene, and you could see just how much information is there. All right, so right here I have the aperture number. Because this lens is fully manual, you can't see what aperture and stuff I'm in on the EXIF data, so just look over here. It says f2 in the caption area. I put the info there. So anyways, looking at this at f2, you can see the sharpness is very good all the way into the corner. Sharpness is looking excellent. Very impressed by that. And then when we stop it down, we're looking at f2.8 now. And we're going to see it's a little bit sharper, not too much, but I do notice it is a little bit sharper here in the corner area. And also note the nice crisp color and contrast. Also, the bokeh balls in the background look quite good. They look like bubbly. They have a nice look to them. If we stop down to f4, it's just going to get a little bit sharper. Bokeh balls are going to get a little smaller. And as you can see, still looking excellent. We got here f5.6, f8, f11, f16, f22. Let me just zoom in on f22 so you can see. You can still see at f22 how sharp the detail is. It's looking really good, and even in the background area you can see how everything's sharpened up. Now, minimum focus distance, you can get extremely close to your subject with this lens, borderline almost macro photography, not quite, but a lot more than the average lens, let's put it that way. Zoomed in, you can see the sharpness is really good on the bottom of the quarter, but because the quarter was at such an angle, the depth of field is so shallow, the top is actually a little bit soft. And that's just because I was so close and the depth of field is so narrow. But notice the nice round bokeh ball in the background there. And then when I stop down to f2.8, you can see the bokeh ball is still pretty round, but it's starting to octagon just a little bit. And then at f4, you could see a little bit of octagoning on the bokeh balls. But otherwise, the out of focus area looks really good. And you can see the sharpness on the quarter is just insane right here. Still a little soft at the top due to the depth of field. But overall, looking really good. And when we get down to f8, f11 territory, the quarter is completely sharp, again due to the angle that it was at. And you can see the background out of focus area is looking really good still, even at f11. Here's f16 and here's f22. Alright, this is just a quick focus breathing test, so I'm just going to rack the focus back and forth so you can see how much it zooms in and out when I do that. Alright, so this image I actually did edit just a little bit. I brought it into Color Effects Pro and I did a little color enhancement and stuff like that. And I was shooting at f5.6. Now look at just how incredibly sharp and detailed this is. This is what I was talking about when I say top quality optic. Like the color, clarity, and sharpness is absolutely unbelievable. Look at the blades of grass. I mean, this lens is really, really high quality. Now here's just another sample photo. This one I edited a little bit as well. Change the distortion a little bit. You can see I tried to fix that a little bit. Here is the original raw file. So you can see here just how sharp this is. Now this is the raw file straight off the camera untouched. And just look at that sharpness and clarity. It's absolutely phenomenal. And here's just another one looking at the garden. This was actually the Vanderbilt mansion. I was there the other day. You might recognize it from some of my other lens reviews. But just look how sharp this lens is. Even in the corner here, you're looking at just incredible detail, clarity, and sharpness. Here's one of my dad's truck. Zoom in there so you can see. Again, this punchy contrast and color on these raw files is incredible. Here's another example. Just look at that color and clarity straight off the camera. Those blues. Here's one of the flag. See, I focused up here. And the house in the background is super out of focus. Here's just another shot of the house at an angle. 15mm is really wide, so I was super close to the house. And then because of the minimum focus distance, check this out. I was able to focus on this fork right in front of me. You can see how sharp it is. And look at that background butter. On an ultra wide angle lens, you can get killer separation when it's a fast aperture. Now, I did a little bit of astro here, just a couple of shots, but only this one really came out good. And you can see the Big Dipper here. It looks like the focus was very slightly off, but the lens did perform really well. This was at ISO 400, 15 seconds. And I was pretty happy with the result, but like I said, I would definitely like to try more astrophotography. This was just a quick test outside my house. Here's one at the Basho Kill. I was actually walking on a trail and this little window opened up and I thought this looked particularly cool. I actually edited this a little bit, so it's just got a little extra color and pop to it. There's another one from the Basho Kill. Just brilliant, brilliant color and clarity and contrast on this lens. Sharpness is also incredible. Look at this, shooting at this gourd. You could see the sun in the background, how bright it is. And this lens just performed absolutely phenomenal in this environment. I mean, that's a pretty harsh lighting environment, and it just performed like a champ in my opinion. I had the lens stop down to about f11 for this shot. I wanted to show the star trail effect that you can get, which is really cool with this lens. Here's another one of the kids in the distance there, walking the dogs. You could see that depth of field play. Here's just another one shooting at the berries on the tree. And again, getting that cool star effect, shooting into the sun. Just look at the contrast control. Is really impressive, shooting directly into the sun. Now wide open here at f2, you can just see the incredible sharpness and shallow depth of field you can get. Also, the background out of focus area rendering is really cool. It gives you like a nice 3D effect almost, the way it like pulls you in. Here's just another one of this white weed flower here, and you can just see there's zero fringing. This lens is incredible in that regard. Here's another one of the water tower, and again, just the clarity, sharpness, no fringing whatsoever. Looking down the fence here, had it set to f16 for this shot, and you could see just the incredible flaring you can get, but how well the control of the contrast is even while shooting directly into the sun. Most lenses, this would be really washed out and you wouldn't have the nice color and stuff, but on a lens of this caliber, it really helps maintain that. Here's just a cool shadow shot. Me and I think it was me and Jace next to one another here, and the dog. Thought it came out pretty cool. Alright, I just have a few more HDR shots I wanted to show you, and HDRs are just multiple exposures combined, and it really gives you a kind of a surreal look, and I just wanted to show you how this lens performs in that environment, and just take a look at the sharpness and clarity on this guy. Now in the super high contrast area right here on this leaf, I do see there is just a little bit of fringing, a little bit of blue fringing, but this is 3 exposures combined, so that does get exaggerated when you create HDRs. On the single frames, this fringing was really hard to see except on the overexposed image. Now here's just one of the Basher Kill again, getting a little bit more cloud detail than normal due to the HDR. Normally this would probably be washed out due to how bright it was. HDR helps bring that detail back. Here's another one. Just another one here. Here's another one. A little smoother looking with the clouds. Here's just one down by the river here. Bunch of rocks and stuff. Thought it was kind of cool. A lot of detail here on the shiny rock. Here's one more from a different spot at the Basher Kill. And just one last image here. I thought came out pretty good. So after testing the lens extensively, I can tell you that the sharpness is absolutely killer corner to corner. Amazing sharpness. What stands out to me with the Venus lens in particular is the very little distortion that it has, but also the incredibly punchy contrast and colors that it offers. And that's because of the super advanced lens coatings and just high quality optics. It reminds me of like a Zeiss Batis lens with that really punchy contrast. Some of the GM lenses have it, like the 24mm f1.4. That lens has that crazy punchy contrast also, and that's really what makes this lens shine. Corner to corner sharpness, very little distortion, fast max aperture, and just crazy punchy clarity that it offers. And you can clearly, in my opinion, see this in the sample photos. Just check out some of my other lens reviews and look at the difference in that crispness. It's pretty apparent, and you know, that's what you get when you buy top quality optics. Now on the downside, this lens is fully manual, so you're gonna have to fully manually control it, but the manual focus is so buttery smooth and it's very easy to get where you need it. Some lenses are harder to manual focus. This one is a very easy lens to manual focus. You just turn the manual focus ring and it's very easy to dial it in. You can see on the screen when using magnify zoom, and when I was doing that I never missed a shot. I also like the fact that the aperture has a D-click feature if you're interested in that for doing aperture throws when recording video, for example. So again, I highly recommend the Venus Optic 15mm f2 lens for those looking for a super high quality manual focus optic, because it's one of the best options out there that I've tested, and for $850 the cost is relatively reasonable, especially if you're looking at cinema lenses and things like that, because those lenses tend to cost a lot more. I really hope you guys got what you were looking for in this lens review. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and consider subscribing if you like this content, and also be sure to let me know what you think of this lens in the comment area below. And if you have any questions, also be sure to ask them in the comments area below. So I will catch up with you guys next time. Please have a great day and be safe out there, okay?